In the last episode, you guys saw me restore the trim around the windows on the door and the rear quarter glass, and it came out phenomenal. And so now that this is looking good, it makes the rest of the car not look so good. All of the other trim on the car, the body trim, the little 5.0 badges, the windshield and rear window trim, the windshield wipers, just everything else doesn't look nearly as good as those windows. So in this episode, I'm going to be taking off the trim and also just completely buffing out the rest of the car. First thing I'm going to do before I start washing the car and buffing it is I'm actually going to be taking off all of the trim that I didn't already redo. The window and rear quarter glass, obviously done, but the windshield and the rear window trim needs to come out. This cowl piece right here can come out, along with the windshield wipers. I'm going to remove those too. I'm also going to be removing this rear wing because every time I wash it, there's just dirt and leaves and junk that come out from right here. I'm also going to be taking all of the body trim off. This piece, that front fender piece, and this rear quarter panel piece. I actually need to get into the trunk, and there's some like captive nut type things that hold those ones on, and these front ones. Got new pieces, all of the body trim pieces. I'm gonna repaint, or not repaint, but paint those. They're all new pieces. They're all right here. Paint those up, just like I did the windshield or the door and rear quarter glass. Probably get some sort of filler, because they're very pitted, at least in the front, from probably rock chips or just bad previous repair. But anyway, not going to ramble on anymore. I'm going to go ahead and get started on washing the car. Well, no, get started on removing all of the trim and then go ahead and wash it. All right, got the trim off around the windshield. Starting off with these lower pieces here. I didn't realize this, but they're plastic. I think these might actually be, no, they say Ford on them, so right there. So I think these are original. But on both sides, this one tab broke off, so that does go under the cowl piece here. So I might be able to get away with just not doing anything with it really, and it being okay. But I'll probably try to glue it, see if that works, but if it doesn't, I'm not too worried about it. I was worried about this clip though. This clip is not underneath anything, so that actually does hold in the trim piece, so try to be careful with that. And then all of these glass trim pieces came out pretty okay. They bend very easily, so I'm gonna have to, you can see right there, I bent it just a little bit, and then I actually bent it in probably about the same spot on the other side, and I kind of just bent it back into shape. Same thing with this thing. I'll have to bend it back together and make it look good again. They're all held in with these janky little clips. As you can see, there's little rivets right up top here, and they slide in there like that, push down on it, and then that's how these are held in, and then you push the trim piece onto those clips. So, but this is exactly why I wanted to remove all of the trim pieces, clean up under here. That way, when I'm buffing, I'm not pulling more dirt if the pad were to get underneath the trim, and then pull some of that dirt out, and then I'm scratching the paint more. So, yeah. The windshield wipers, I broke one of them, but the other one came out just fine. They're not held in by any screws or anything. They are held in by this little, I don't know what you would call it, locking plate, I guess. But this tab right here, you'll just pull out on. This will come out, and then you'll be able to just pull up on the windshield wiper. But yeah, I was going to mark them for when I put them back on, but there's no real way to mark them because I'm about to paint them, so I don't know. I'll just have to figure it out when I put it back on. But yeah, that's the windshield trim off, ready to go. Well, not ready to go, ready to be washed. I'm going to take off this antenna too. This piece, I've taken it off so many times it fits on there kind of loosely, but you are able to pry up on one side. You'll be able to pull that cover off. And then I've taken the antenna off so many times too. That just unscrews. And then there's two screws right here. You'll pull that up, and then once you pull it up, you'll be able to unplug the actual antenna that goes to the radio. I gotta find my screwdriver. Stand by. I got the antenna out. Like I said, there's just a couple screws, and then you'll probably not able to see, but the antenna will pull out with this piece, and then you just unplug it. Super simple. Moving on to the back here. I think I'm also going, well, I'm going to remove this too. There's nothing really wrong with it. I don't really mind it, but I also don't mind if it's not on there. So, I think I'll just take it off, and then if I really want to put it back on, I'll put it back on. But to get these trim pieces off, I got to get it off anyway. All right, got the spoiler off finally. 10 bolts later. Yeah, and this is exactly why I wanted to take it off, because of all this stuff. So, but yeah. Next I'm going to move on to probably taking this. Actually, I think I'll move on to, I'm going to take this pinstripe off. I've already taken it off on the other side. Nothing too interesting about that. It's literally using the heat gun, pulling it off, and then I use one of these rubber eraser wheels to um, take off all the goo that's left over. But yeah, I think I'm gonna do that, and then at the same time, I'll probably actually take off these guys here, which, like I said, these ones should be glued on. There shouldn't be any bolts. Don't quote me on that. I'll find out in a minute. Um, but yeah, here we go. I moved on without you guys. Sorry. But nothing too exciting to see here. It was just taking the um, body molding trim off. Uh, Nothing really crazy. The door, the front, or I guess the back of the fender and the front of the quarter panel here, it's all double-sided sticky tape. And then back here you had three three holes with these. Where did they go? Is that one? Nope. There they are. These are the nuts I was talking about. The moldings actually have a plastic stud on them, and these just screw into them, or bite into them, I should say. So there's three on the back. The front has four here, 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 and here. And as you can see, my fender was white at one point. Good to know. But yeah, the only thing I have left on this side is the door and the front of the fender. I already took this off. Came off pretty easy. Just this is actually like some sort of like trim adhesive. So, but what I did on the other side, this side I might not have to because it's kind of sitting in the sun. I heated it up with the air gun or the heat gun here, and then I just heated up one end of it, pulled on it, and then just ripped it off. If you're planning on reusing these, good luck. It's probably doable, but it's pretty tough getting these things off. Oh, and the door's white too. Was white at one point. But this is pretty much all I did. Yep. Let's see if this one comes off just as easy. Yeah. Cool. All right, well, that was easy. Now the hard part is getting all that stuff off. So I'm gonna use that rubber wheel to get all of this gunk off as much as I can. And then I also took the pinstriping off. That's where the battery actually died. It's taking this pinstriping off. Well, not even pinstripes, just vinyl tape. And that's got all that residue left over. So it's gonna be probably like 3 or 4 hours with this thing trying to get all this stuff off. So, and I definitely want to do that before I wash it. So yeah. Anyway, definitely I was completely ready to wash this thing, and here I am, a full day in, just taking trim and stuff off. So yeah, I'm probably not going to film this part. It's not that interesting. All it is put it on your drill, then you just go up and down with it. You just put it on your drill and you go along where the sticky stuff is, and it takes it off, wipe it off. I definitely need to do it before I wash this thing, because this throws a bunch of the rubber pieces everywhere, so, and they kind of stick to the car. So yeah, I'm just gonna get started. Next thing you see will probably be washing, so see you in a bit. I've got the power washer set up here and some Dawn dish soap in this bucket here. The reason why I'm using Dawn dish soap is because that's going to remove all of the old wax, the grease, the grime, the dirt. It's going to remove everything off the paint, so then I can clay bar it and then finally polish it. So you probably could get away with just using some regular car cleaning soap, but if you want to strip all of the impurities off of the paint, you're going to want to use some sort of degreaser soap, and that's why I'm using Dawn dish soap. So without further ado, I'm finally going to actually wash this thing. Here we go. As you can see, there was a ton of dirt and grime all up in the window seals, or window trim areas, I guess you could say. There are some in here, but this was pretty okay for the most part. And it's pretty clean underneath this cowl. Sometimes those rust out pretty good. But the paint job that I did on the mirrors and trims holding up to a pressure washer, so that's good. But yeah, you can just see how much dirt was trapped up underneath all of that trim, underneath the spoiler in this window channel here. Yeah, so that is exactly why I wanted to pull all this stuff off, was to get all of that dirt out. That way when I'm polishing it, I'm not pulling out all of that dirt with the pads, and then also it just needed to be cleaned out anyway. So yeah, I'm gonna lather this thing up with some soap and then rinse it off, and then we should be able to move on to the clay bar. So here we go. I jumped ahead and clay barred the entire car without you guys, but I saved the rear spoiler there so I can show you guys what I did. And well, I don't know if it's a placebo effect or whatever you want to call it, but it actually looks a lot better after doing that, washing it and then clay barring it. So I could be totally going crazy just thinking that, but I don't know. It does look good. So for the most part, anyway, might just be because it's cleaned up, but it definitely is getting there. So, like I said, I'm going to show you guys on the rear spoiler here, um, how I clay barred the entire car. Soapy water. Got one of the wash mitts in there. This is not the same water that I used to wash the car because that water was all dirty, but you're going to want to use some soapy water to lube up the paint. Get your clay bar here. Obviously, I've been using it. Every panel or so, you're going to want to kind of roll this clay bar up and then get those impurities, the dirt and grime, kind of pushed into the clay. That way, when you're clay barring the next panel, you're not just rubbing in dirt from that previous panel. But I get it about palm size, and then literally just go over it like this. And I mean, you can hear it. It kind of sounds like sandpaper, and then it starts smoothing out. That's pretty much where I get, or pretty much where I stop, because that's getting all the dirt out. So you can hear now, pretty smooth. And then you can also see a little bit, usually around the edges is where all the dirt gets caught up. Let me see if I can bring you in a little closer so you can hear. Hopefully the wind isn't too loud, but I mean, you can hear that versus that. It probably doesn't sound that much different, but it definitely feels different when you're going over it. So I usually do a couple passes one way and then come back the other way, do a couple passes, and then move on to the next spot. You always want to keep this nice and lubricated. Whoa. And you don't want to put really any pressure on the clay bar. Kind of just want it loosely in your hand, and it should just kind of glide itself over the paint. But that's really all there is to it. I'm gonna finish this up real quick. Of course, I'm doing this on the ground, so put my hand on the ground and then I get dirt on my hand. Don't want to touch the paint after that. You don't want the clay bar touching the cement either. So if you're doing this close to the ground, be cool. And that's it. That's pretty much what I did on the entire car. So I'm gonna get the car pulled back into the garage and then start polishing. Pretty much at that point now. So yeah, I got a new polishing kit. Actually, my first polishing kit, because I've never actually polished a car. So I've actually never done any of this. I'm just winging it. But starting out good. Hopefully I'm fooling you guys with the confidence, but who knows. Anyway, I'm gonna get this car pulled in, and then I might actually have to wait for it to dry off a little bit, and then we can start polishing. So this is what I got for my polishing setup here. I got this torque polishing rotary tool thing. I don't know what you call them. And it came with a couple different attachments and then a bunch of polishing pads. This was a Chemical Guys kit off of Amazon. So it also came with the polishing pad conditioner and cleaner from Chemical Guys. And then I had to get the McGuire's polish, cutting compound, and then some polish. Um, I thought it came with the cutting compound and polish, but apparently it didn't. So I had to run out and get some of that, and now it's pouring rain, so I got the garage closed. Lighting's gonna be a little weird, so bear with me. But as you can see, I've already got a pad on there. That's the heavy medium cutting pad, and I've already started because I've never actually done this before. So I was kind of figuring it out, and I think I've got it figured out for the most part. I already started polishing this fender, and it came out pretty good, other than all of these deep scratches. I don't know if it's going to come up on camera. You can kind of see this one, but um, those are pretty far down in there. I did a 2-3 passes on this, and they didn't really come out. So, but the paint itself actually shined up really good. So I don't know if you really can't tell all that much, to be honest. But I'm gonna try to do I've always wanted to do this, I should say. Cut the hood in half, polish one side, and then really get a good look at what this polishing is actually doing, this waxing is actually doing. So before I get started on that, I've taped up the driver door, at least the trim around it. I don't want to get that compound on it. The compound won't really do anything if you wipe it off, but if you don't wipe it off and it stays on there, it's never going to come off, as you're always going to have some sort of like white haze at least on your black trim. So I went ahead and taped it all up. I am doing this backwards. I should have definitely polished the car before I did all the trim, but it is what it is. It's not wrong, but it definitely would have been easier if I had done the trim second. But there was a bunch of overspray from the previous paint job of the trim and the body trim, the mirror, and the door and window trim. And I just used some lacquer thinner and wiped off that overspray, and it came off pretty good. I don't know if there's any on this side. Doesn't look like it. Yeah, well, right there. Like that kind of stuff, that easily wipes off with some lacquer thinner. And then this kind of stuff over here, that'll come off pretty easy. But yeah, so I'm gonna do this hood. I'm gonna polish one side of it, tape it off, polish one side of it, and then kind of walk you guys through what I'm doing, I guess. Get started. There we go. Sorry if you guys are hearing the rain in the background, but it is what it is. Just gonna throw a lines, maybe semi straight. There we go. Good enough. So I got the polishing compound here, or polishing compound. I got the polisher here. I got the compound right here. I'm just gonna do probably 4, 5, 6 little dollops of compound. That was probably too much. Get up nice and close so you guys can see. Try not to unplug this in. Then I'm also going to grab this conditioner and just do a couple squirts onto the pad with the compound. And then got it on speed 1. Then I'm going to go ahead and load this stuff in. Then move on to speed 2. Grab your microfiber towel here, throw it on the ground, get a new one. The microfiber towels always come with this stupid tag on. I don't know why. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and wipe off this compound. And looks pretty good. Pretty good so far. So I'm going to keep doing that. I don't know if you guys heard. I went from speed 1 to rub it all in, and then went up to speed 6 to rub it in. If that makes sense. And then went to speed 6 to really get that cutting compound effect working. So I might do another pass. There is still some pretty deep scratches that I might try to get out. But again, this paint it's not very good paint to begin with, so I'm not super worried about it being perfect. And then also, yeah, it's not a show car, so I don't really care that much, but I would like it to look semi-decent. So yeah, I'm gonna continue on to this other half of the first half and then show you guys the results. This first, actually, before I do that, you can kind of see the oxidation on the hood. It's got a little bit of a haze to it, so there is some oxidation. This cutting compound should take it out, so we shall see if it does. I think it will. But anyway, here we go. Okay, I just pulled the tape off that divided the two halves of this hood, and you guys should be able to see that clear line of the polished side and the non-polished side. Hopefully you guys can hear me, but it's raining pretty good outside. There you go. You can kind of see it a little bit better with the light. But yeah, it's definitely doing something, that cutting compound. I should also mention I have a polishing compound that I'm going to do after, so that's going to really brighten up the paint after the cutting is all done. But yeah, I'm not saying it's the best paint job or best polishing job in the world, but it's definitely doing the trick. So it's looking good. I'm gonna keep going on with this polishing, and then I'll move on to this trim, restoring that. Probably not going to show you guys a whole lot of that just because I have an entire video on how to get it looking this good. So, oh, and almost dropped my spoiler. Anyway, getting the trim looking this good. It's the last video I've made, and it turned out with some great results. So if you guys want to see that, hit up the channel, and it's that last video I made. So anyway, yeah, I'm going to continue on with the polishing of the rest of the car. It's the next day, and I've got the car all polished out, but it's wrapped up because I started painting the trim over here. So I definitely didn't want to get overspray on the car, so I wrapped it up nice and good like. But I've gotten everything, or all of the trim pieces, I should say, all primed up, ready for some paint. And I've mentioned before that I have an entire video on painting trim, but I figured I would just show you guys real quick how I do it. I've got this Duplicolor primer filler, and it works out pretty good. But before I apply that, I use some Simple Green to clean it off, clean all the parts off initially, and then some grease and wax remover for the final cleaning. Then I'm going to use some of this SEM trim black. That is what I used on all of the window trim and the mirrors, which I actually need to grab because I need to paint those too. But super easy, super straightforward on how to apply this stuff. I'll show you guys real quick with the actual paint. So the paint and the primer is the same process. It's going to be 3 total coats. First 2 are just a light coating, and then the third coat is a heavy, medium heavy coat. So the way I'm going to apply this trim black paint is the same way I put the primer down. So you can use this process for both the primer and the paint. All right, like I said, first coat is just going to be a very light coat. That's pretty much all I do. Not necessarily trying to cover everything, but get a light coat on each part. Cool. So I'm going to do for the first coat, I'll also do this for the second coat, and then the last and final coat will be a heavier coat. So I'll just skip to that heavy coat and show you guys that one. I'm not going to show you the second light coat. But between each of these coats, it's going to be 10 minutes for the light coats in between, and then 30 minutes for that heavy coat. So it's been about 45 minutes since the primer was first laid down with that heavy coat. So now it's safe to put the paint on. So give this 10 minutes to set up, come back, put another light coat on, and then put that final coat on. So, alrighty, I ran out of some paint, but I got quite a few pieces actually finished up and painted. They're still drying, obviously, but they came out pretty dang good. Of course, these are all going to look as good as the effort you put into them. So, the prep work is the big thing here, and I think I did a pretty good job on 90% of the stuff. It looks like there's one area right here on this body molding. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Yeah, you can kind of see it. But I think I might be able to sand that out, respray it, and it'll be just fine. But everything else looks pretty good. This cow piece is really nice. Everything's still a little wet, so it's drying off, but yeah. Just put a heavy coat on there after 2 light coats, and this is how it came out. So it's gonna be a matte finish. It's not gonna be a shiny finish, which is exactly what I was going for. And it's to be expected because that's the paint I got. But these 2 pieces right here, these are the pieces that go right here on the windshield. They're cheap plastic pieces. They broke off, or the tabs that hold them on broke off when I pulled those pieces off. So I just didn't put a whole lot of effort into those. I just made them look good for the video. And I think I'm just going to order new ones and throw them on when they get here. But for now, they'll do just fine. And then obviously you can see there's 6 pieces right here that are still not painted. That's because I ran out of paint. It'll be here tomorrow, along with the rest of the body molding for the car. So Once those come in, I'll finish painting these pieces up and then throw everything on, and then we will get to see the the final polished result along with all of the painted trim pieces, and that'll be it. That'll be pretty much the end of cosmetic restoration of this vehicle. I say restoration very lightly. Um, but it's definitely coming along. It's definitely looking a lot better. But like I said, once those parts come in, we'll get them on. We'll get this car looking good. So I'll catch you all then. I didn't realize it earlier, but the paint actually came in today. So I went ahead and finished painting all of the pieces. And yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with how everything came out. I did a couple more coats on some pieces that needed it. And then I also went ahead and repainted the side trim piece here. If you guys remember, there was this area here where it was like a weird, really matte finish versus like the semi-gloss that's going on here. And I got that same thing over here, but I actually ended up spraying it again, and it came out fine. So this window trim is all done. I also did the mirrors. Those are all done. This was the driver's side, and that was the one that had that weird hazy matte finish like the window trim on the driver's side. But yeah, I got the passenger side mirror painted up right there. It doesn't look the best, but it's really not that noticeable while you're in the car. But anyway, now that I got everything all painted up, ready to go, I'm just going to start installing it. Take off the plastic and install all this stuff. So here we go. I got all the window trim in, got the antenna and windshield wipers in, and it doesn't look too bad. All those clips that are holding it in, they're not in the best shape, so it was definitely a struggle getting them in. They don't fit up perfect by any means, and I definitely should have gave this some more time to dry, but it is what it is. I'm not too worried about it. But the paint job actually came out pretty good, so I'm happy with that. Again, these pieces, I'm gonna get new ones because they're broken anyway. This cow piece came out pretty good. The windshield wipers, they came out okay. I definitely need to respray that one, but I just put it on for now. And then the rear window here, this one actually went on pretty easy. Nothing too crazy. Other than this bottom piece here, I should have bent where it's a 90-degree back here. I should have bent that inward a little bit, and that would have closed up this gap. Might still do that. Not 100% sure yet, but oh, I also got the mirrors in, and again, paint job came out pretty good on these. And this one, I believe, yeah, I just painted this area right here, so yeah, it's looking good. The only other pieces I got left are all of the body molding pieces. They're dry, they're ready to go on, but it's like 10 o'clock at night. I work the graveyard shift now, so I gotta go to work here in a few minutes. And then I'm also waiting on these door and forward quarter panel moldings to come in. So, oh wait, no, I have that one. Maybe it's that side I'm waiting on. The door moldings and then that side. So everything else I have. But yeah. All right. Actually, I think I am missing one more piece. I hope I ordered it. Oh well, I guess we'll see tomorrow, but anyway, I'll catch you all tomorrow. Get those body molding pieces on, and then give the final reveal when it's actually light out. So stay tuned. Be back in a jiffy. I finally got the little fender trim piece here and the door molding trim in for both sides, but for some reason I accidentally ordered this one twice, and I didn't order this one that goes on the front of the fender here for the other side. I don't know what happened. I ordered them late at night, so I probably got confused and I was tired and blah, 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 blah. But at least I got the door molding in, and this side, I'm just missing one piece, so not a big deal. I'm gonna go ahead and get started on this side, putting all of the body molding on. I also got a little 5.0 badge, new one. As you can see, I got some tape set up. The way I've already sneak peek, I've already done it on this side, but the way I was doing it on that side, a couple pieces of tape it into place, and then at least for these ones, you'll use these little nuts, and they go onto these plastic studs, and there's no threads, but they are cut, I guess. I don't know how to describe it, and they just bite into the metal, so that's pretty easy, straightforward. And then as far as this piece, these next three pieces, the door molding, the rear fender, and front quarter panel trim or molding, it's all double-sided 3M sticky tape, whatever it's called. Same deal, put the tape on, and then once you get it on, I would just well, on the other side, well, let me just show you real quick. So we got our piece here, tape. Just put the tape on a couple spots. Okay, actually, this side doesn't, or this smaller piece doesn't really matter, but when you do the door, it's the same process. I just folded over these tape pieces because when you go to put the actual molding on, the little ends of the tape here would fold under onto the car. So if you do it this way, you have a little bit more control with that tape. But with this piece, there are some, I guess, locating tabs. There's some locating tabs that make it easy. You can see it right there and on the back side here. And that just goes into this groove here. But before I actually do that, I need to got this adhesive promoter. I'll throw that on. There's no instructions with this, but I feel like it's pretty straightforward. Just put it where the tape is going to be. And just let it dry. One thing I should mention with these 3 pieces of molding is that they come unpainted. They tell you to paint it, but it matches the SEM trim black that I have. And I don't see any real reason to paint them. Maybe longevity, just to so they don't fade as much, but I don't see any reason to do it. But anyway, so with this piece here, I'm going to line it up pretty much with the front of the fender here, or the back of the fender, I guess I should say, or the wheel well. And then just fold these tape pieces up. And I kind of step back, make sure it looks good. I've also got all of this black that goes around the trim on the actual body. I couldn't get that off. I used some lacquer thinner and it won't even come off. It was taking the paint off. So it is what it is. I'm not going to worry about it. Again, this isn't a show car. This car isn't perfect by any means, so I'm not too worried about it. But once it looks good, once you got it where you want it, I just peel up the piece of tape here. Come back, peel off the protective material here for the sticky tape, and then just start applying it and pulling it. And that looks pretty good. So do this bottom portion of the trim, but it's going to be the same process for the rest of the other 2 trim pieces. Get a microfiber towel here so you can press it in, make sure that tape is actually holding on. And yeah, so that's the same process I'm going to do for the other 2 pieces. I'm realizing now that I totally forgot to paint the bumper molding in the front and the back, so that's cool. I never got that filler that I mentioned before because it has all these little dents in it, but you guys get the gist of how to restore the trim. So Not going to include it in this video, but dang, that sucks that I forgot to do that, because it would have been cool when I finally show this off. Hopefully the sun's still up by the time I can get this done. But yeah, it would have looked good having everything done, but it is what it is. As you can see, I'm not the most organized person. I forget a lot of stuff. Order the wrong parts, forget stuff. Don't really plan these videos out. I kind of just film them as I go, and order parts as I go, which is not the best, but I don't know. It's life for you. Anyway, I am going to move on to the last three pieces here, and then pull it out, take a look at it, see how it looks. Then that pretty much wraps up the video. So there it is, all cleaned up, all shined up. And it came out pretty dang good. Of course, you can see all the scratches and terrible paint job that was done on it, but it's polished up. It looks pretty good. Of course, still missing that one trim piece, but the rest of the trim looks pretty good. And the bumpers, I guess. Bumpers don't look too good, but well, there you guys have it. The car is all finished up. It looks great. Of course, the paint job isn't very good to begin with, so it is what it is. I polished a turd. That's what I did. I'm not going to sit here and say this is the best paint job or best polish job ever done, but what I did definitely makes it look 10 times better, and that's all that I really cared about. I'm not a cosmetic guy to begin with. I could really care less how a car looks for the most part, but I will say it does look nice when it's all polished up. So it makes a difference when I look at it. It makes me want to drive it more, which is the whole point. So that's exactly what I'm going to do now. I'm going to drive it more, show it off some more. Of course, people are always going to be like, oh man, this thing looks like garbage, but it is what it is. They don't know the whole process that I did to get it to looking like it does now. But that's okay. Not really concerned about what other people think. But if you enjoyed the video, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one.